The ninth principle we want to share with you is your success depends on others' success. Commit to the folks you interact with and recognize that their success is your success. Take the journey from me to we. Now this looks so easy when you think about it. All you got to do is take the M and E and flip it over to W in we. And halfway between me and we is the math sign element, meaning you belong to a group. But in fact, the journey from thinking about yourself and pursuing your self-interest to thinking about a group to thinking about the broader society in which you live and how important everyone's success is to your success, well, that's a journey that can take a long time before it becomes real to you. That was certainly true for me. I've been teaching for 40 years, and maybe 15 years ago I thought, gosh, I'm really good. I was getting teaching awards, and I was giving teaching seminars, and people were telling me, you're a master teacher, as if I'd figured it out, and I was believing it. And then about 10 years ago, I just realized how much better I was than I'd been 15 years before. And then 5 years ago, I realized how much better I was than when I was 10 years ago. And by then, I had it figured out. There wasn't any limit to how good I could become. But I also figured out something else. I probably wasn't great at all, by myself at least. But working with my students in a classroom, when we all got together, we could make great music. The class became exciting, but that was all of us working together. Now I know there are some people that are great professors. I'm just not one of them. Not by myself. I'm just very, very good. So now when I start a course, the first thing I tell my students on the first day of class is, I'm very, very good. But you see, I also tell them, if we work together, we can make something magic. We can become great working together. And the same thing's true for all the relationships I'm in. I'm a good father, a really good father, but I have a great relationship with my children. And yes, I'm a good husband, but I have a fantastic marriage. And what's the difference? The difference is this understanding that it's not about me, it's about we. And this concept, this journey from me to we, well, it extends outward to marriages and families and friends and communities and to countries. When we all realize we're in this together and we work together, well, your life just becomes fuller. You get so much more out of it. All of this leads to what I consider to be a thriving capitalist society. It has to balance. It has to balance private and public interests, competition and yet cooperation, wealth generation and yet wealth distribution, meritocracy and benevolence. That's just another way of saying take the journey from me to we. All of these involve balancing self-interest and the broader interests of society. Let me close with a story. I'm at a roundtable discussion put on by the Atlantic Monthly in Boston shortly after the accounting scandals of around 2001. We were trying to get at what's the root cause of these scandals, and it was a wonderful evening, and I learned a great deal. And at one point, an economist, a very renowned economist, says, look, it's pretty obvious what the problem was. The problem was greed. I agreed. The problem was greed. And he says, and this is what you should expect out of capitalism. And I agree with that. So he said, I don't know why everybody's so excited here. This is just the outcome of capitalism. And I agreed with all that. But you see, then I challenged him. And I said, I don't live in capitalism. I live in a capitalist society. And in a capitalist society, you have to balance self-interest, which is what capitalism is great at, and I love capitalism, with social interests, with the interests of everyone else. You see, in a perfect world, that balance isn't required. Every economist knows that if you have perfect markets, then everyone pursues their self-interest, but we're all better off because of it. But the world isn't perfect. And because the world's not perfect, well, we have to balance our own interests with the interests of others. This doesn't involve a trade-off. When we're pursuing a well-balanced capitalist society along all these dimensions I've been talking about, we're all better off. We're much better off. And what I would have you think about as you try to fulfill your life to the fullest is how important it is to fulfill everybody else's life to the fullest.